Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, classmate. I am here now to present our report entitled Informationalism and Global Citizenship, presented by Group 8.
This is my report about informationalism. Globalism is tied to the notion of networks. For Castells, networks constitute the fundamental pattern of life, of all kinds of life. It was previously mentioned that in the present and even in the past, that world is connected. The difference between globalism and globalization is the speed and thickness or intensity of connections. Nevertheless, people are connected with one another rather as a small community of us, a large country. So ang globalismo ay nagkatali sa paniwala daw ng mga network para kay Castells. Networks constitute of fundamental patterns of life, all of kinds of life, nauna nang nabanggit ng mga kasalukuyan at maging sa nakaraan. Ang mundo ay konektado. Ang pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng globalismo ay globalisasyon ay ang bilis at kapal o intensity na koneksyon. Gayunpaman, ang mga tao ay konektado sa isa't isa, maging bilang isang maliit na komunidad o bilang isang malaki na komunidad. Next is informationalism. MC Luhan and Fiore argued that in the new media age, the importance lies in the medium, the way in which the message is transmitted, not necessarily in the content presented through the medium. This means that television, radios, and newspaper have been shaping the individual subjectivity and cultures. Next is informationalism. So MC Luhan and Fiore argues that in the new media age, the importance lies in the medium, the way in which the message is transmitted, not necessarily in the content presented through the medium. This means that television, radios, and newspapers have been shaping individual subjectivity and culture, not only locally but globally. Si MC Luhan at Fiore, nagtalo sila, MC Luhan at Fiore, nasa news media age, and kahalagahan ay namamalagi sa medium, ang paraan kung saan ang mensahe ay pinadala. Hindi kinakailangan sa nilalaman na ipinakita sa pamamagitan ng medium. Nangangahulugan ito na ang mga telebisyon, radyo at pahayagan ay nahubog ng individual subjectivity at kultura, hindi lamang o lokal kundi sa buong mundo. Dito sa informationalism. For example, communication on social media. Informationalism has revolutionized communication through the widespread use to social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This platform enable individuals to connect, share information, and engage the discussion on a global scale. They have also facilitated the rise of online communities and digital activism.
According to Research 2015, the internet has prompted a flat-board thesis. Anyone can be involved in it, at least theoretically. So, ano ibig sabihin ni Red Sir dito? So, it means that for me, it means that the internet is free to everyone. You are equal to use it, mahirap man o mayaman. We are allowed to use internet as long as we want because it is for everyone. We are free to use it. Basta may kapabilidad kang gumamit nito at alam mo kung paano ginagamit ito at sa tama mong ginagamit ito. So, wala namang batas sa paggamit ng internet basta maayos lang ginagamit. So, we are free and equal to use it. So, next is having a computer today in our homes, our schools, our workplace, and accessing the internet through our personal cell phones, allowing us to be connected with the rest of the world. We can gain information by accessing different websites such as Facebook, Wikipedia, through the internet. In the same manner, the information about ourselves that we share is also exposed in order to control internet access and use there are mechanisms such as personal password or in the case of Chinese government. So it means that having technology in our side nowadays and we are also connected sa internet, it allows us to be connected to information worldwide, hindi lang sa country natin. We can gain information by accessing through internet platforms like Facebook, Google, and YouTube, and many more. And because of these internet platforms, mas lalang lumalawak ang information na nakuha natin dahil sa paggamit ng mga platform na to. At nakaka-adapt tayo ng mga information, nakakapag-communicate tayo sa iba, at na-improve natin yung ating kaalaman by through searching and browsing. So, internet and technology is sila talaga yung sila yung fundamentals na kailangan natin para makagain tayo ng mga informations. Next is while globalization allowed the expansion of information, access the modern technologies is not an universal matter that is available to every person around the world. The internet and other technologies are limited by certain barriers. These barriers include lack of electricity, illiteracy, weak financial system, and government regulations. So nowadays, in order to have information, you must have acquired modern technology since these technologies plays a crucial part on acquiring info. Because dahil sa mga technology na to, mas napapadali nito ang pagkuha ng mga information natin. Kasi hindi naman tayo makakakuha ng information kung internet lang. So kailangan natin ng technology para magamit yung internet na yun at makapag-browse o makapag-search at makakuha na rin ng mga informations galing sa mga internet platforms. For example, mahalin natin to sa academic natin. Like, kapag wala tayong naiintindihan sa mga subject natin, pwede natin gamitin yung technology natin and also yung internet at the same time para makapag-search and makakuha ng information about do sa particular na hindi natin maintindihan. So yung paggamit ng internet and technology is very important dahil sila yung nagiging way kung bakit tayo nakakuha ng internet. Technology and internet sila yung way kung bakit tayo nakaka-adapt and nakakakuha ng information galing sa internet platforms. So we are going to explain sa mga barriers. So the internet and other technologies are limited by certain barriers. So these barriers include here is the electricity, lack of electricity, illiteracy, weak financial systems, and government regulations. So lack of electricity. Alam naman natin na kapag wala tayong electricity or wala tayong source of electricity is di tayo pwedeng gumamit ng technologies as well as Wi-Fi. So, 'di ba? Alam naman natin na sila yung source kung bakit natin sila napapagamit. So, kung lack of electricity tayo, hindi natin sila magagamit or hindi natin sila mai-utilize kasi sila yung power ng mga to para magamit natin. So, next is illiteracy. From the word illiteracy, lack of knowledge. So, if you are lack of knowledge sa paggamit ng internet as well as technology, mahihirapan ka na ma-utilize yung benefits nito dahil yung benefits lang naman ng internet and technology is it makes our life easier by communicating sa mga malalayong lugar, by browsing or searching or to gain information nga, as well as pag-entertain na rin kapag boring times, since 'di ba internet and technologies is sila yung way kung bakit tayo na-entertain whenever we are boring. So if you are illiteracy, mahihirapan kang i-utilize yung beneficial ng dalawang to. And most of the time, yung mga illiteracy, nowadays, yung mga illiteracy lang na siguro na pwede kong sabihin is yung mga lola at lola natin. Kasi, di ba, since di naman sila nasa era ng paggamit ng mga technologies, lalo na ngayon, ng modern technologies, sila ay lack of knowledge sa paggamit nito. So, hindi sila capable or wala silang knowledge sa paggamit ng mga advanced technologies like this. Next is weak financial systems. So, weak financial system, for me, it refers to budgets of budget mo. Kasi, 'di ba, kapag gusto mong mag-acquire ng isang Wi-Fi or ng internet or ng technology is you have to think if financially stable ka ba, kasi 'di ba kapag weak financial or financially unstable ka, hindi ka makakagamit, di ka makakabili ng mga bagay na to, like di ka makakabili ng Wi-Fi, di ka rin makakabili ng technologies like cellphone and laptop and computer. So if financially stable ka, nagiging isang barrier siya na magamit yung or malimited yung utilize ng beneficial ng dalawang to. So isa sa mga barriers sa internet and technologies. Next is government regulations. Government regulations, for me, government regulations is like nakafocus siya sa mga nakafocus na sila sa pagpapaalala sa mga magulang, especially sa mga bata na gumagamit ng mga modern technologies ngayon, yung mga early bird, yung mga bata na gumagamit ng internet tsaka technologies ngayon, like nagbibigay lang sila ng babala sa mga magulang na ang internet is hindi yan kaagad para sa mga bata, kasi ang internet is sobrang lawak niyan. Kasi hindi naman natin alam kung ano yung ginagawa ng mga bata. So minsan yung mga nakikita nila na mga content is hindi na inappropriate. So na-apektuhan yun yung na-apektuhan yung mental health nila, and na-adapt nila yon. So sobrang alarming na yun kasi bata pa lang sila, nakakakita na sila ng ganun. So yun ang feeling ko na government regulations is nagbibigay na sila ng babala sa mga magulang, and nagiging barrier siya kasi nag-iiba yung perception ng internet as well as technologies. Kasi 'di ba, dahil sa ganong information na binibigay ng iba or ng government is nagiging cost rin siya ng pagiging strict ng mga magulang sa mga bata, like di na nila pinapagamit ng technologies ganito ganyan. So mas parang na hindi na utilize ng mga tao yung benefits ng internet and technologies kasi nakafocus na sila sa negative neto. So for me yun ang pinaka-cost or pinaka-meaning ng government regulations for doon sa barriers ng internet and technologies. That's all. Thank you, ma'am.
So, global citizenship is a term used to describe the social, environmental, and economic actions taken by individuals and communities who recognize that every person is a citizen of the world. Citizenship is associated with rights and obligation. So, as citizen, we associated sa ato ang karapatan at sa ato ang obligation. For example, is the right to vote. Di ba dapat is magpa-register dito for us to vote, and that is needed. Second example is obligation sa magbayad ng buhis sa government. So kung naakay business, din naakay obligation ni mo magbayad ng buhis. It has to do with our adjustment sa atong community, need nato makig-cooperate, hatagan natong time para makatabang, because of course para sa atuang komunidad para sa kaayuhan. Community has traditionally been regarded as something very local. So when we say local, this mean existing in or nahisakop sa place nga imuhang gipuy-an or the area that you are talking about. And Cecilia Johanna van Vesky, she is a commander in the Royal Netherlands Navy, military veteran, and an authority in the field of peace and security, civil-military interaction, democracy and election and rule of law equity, whose achievements have received national and international recognition. So Cecilia Johanna van Vesky, as cited in Baraldi 2012, defined global citizenship as a moral and ethical disposition that can guide the understanding of individuals or groups of local and global contexts and remind them of their relative responsibilities within various communities. So global citizens are the glue which binds local communities together in an increasingly globalized world. In Van Vesky's words, global citizens might be a new type of people that can travel within these various boundaries and somehow still make sense in the world. Baraldi 2012. So, moral is personal na paniniwala at pagpapahalaga na tumutulong sa mga individual na makilala ang tama at mali. While ang ethics is provide a broader nagbibigay ng mas malawak na balangkas that evaluates and guides conduct within a specific particular na context too, such as profession or society. Then in Evan Vesky's words, global citizen might be a new type of people na pwede maglakbay sa loob ng iba't ibang various boundaries at kahit gaano may kahulugan pa rin sa mundo. And that's all. Thank you.
This passage discusses three different approaches to global economic resistance. First, we have the trade protectionism. This approach involves the systematic intervention of governments in foreign trade, meaning ang governments nag-impose og tariffs or taxes and non-tariff barriers sa mga imported goods para maprotektahan and masuportahan ang domestic producer while encouraging their foreign competitors. Second is fair trade. This approach emerged as a response to the principles of neoliberal free trade. Fair trade, from the word fair, meaning it aims to create a more moral and equitable global economic system. In system, the price sa goods kay wala jud as in solely nakadetermined by the market forces of supply and demand. Instead, it is negotiated transparently by both producer and consumers. Fair trade seeks to ensure that producers in developing countries receive fair wages and better working conditions. These two approaches represent different strategies for dealing with the challenges of economic globalization. Trade protectionism focuses on protecting domestic industries, while fair trade prioritizes social and environmental consideration in global trade. Next, in this passage, it discusses the nature and challenges of the World Social Forum or WSF. The World Social Forum WSF is an international event centered around addressing the lack of democracy in economic and political affairs. Nag-provide ini og platform para sa individuals, organization, and movement to come together and discuss alternative proposal and solution to global issues. However, one of the challenges faced by WSF is the diversity of elements involved. The WSF includes various stakeholders such as activities, NGOs, social movement, and grassroots organization, each with their own perspective and agendas. Kani ang kalahian would can make it difficult to different concrete political proposal that everyone agrees on. Kay lagi they have diverse perspective and agenda. The presence of multiple viewpoint and interests within the WSF can make it a complex and sometimes fragmented space, while the forum allows for the exchange of ideas and networking, reaching consensus and generating unified political proposals become challenges due to diversity and participants and their different priorities. Despite this challenge, the WSF continued to serve as an important platform for dialogue, critical analysis, and the exploration of alternatives to address the democratic deficits in global economic and political systems. It provides an opportunity for collective action and mobilization, even if concrete political proposal may be more difficult to achieve.